I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Not only is a college education a door to higher wages, providing that education is an important segment of our economy and a huge source of good-paying jobs. In 2017, the average salary for the country's 624,000 full-time college instructors was $82,240, which is according to an annual study from the Department of Education's National Center of Education Statistics. In the days before college loans were as easy to get as the common cold, college costs were due in cash. Students and parents had to save money or pay tuition out of their earnings. Many students worked their way through college. Those without savings, the ability or desire to work their way through college, or high enough grades for scholarships, they just didn't go to college. Since colleges competed for students, market forces controlled the tuition rates. Raising tuition too much resulted in fewer students and smaller revenues. The two forces of supply and demand, supply being college capacity and demand being the ability to pay tuition, kept college costs in check. Understandably, borrowing to pay for college tuition was difficult. What sane bank or investor would loan money to an unemployed teenager with no collateral to speak of? If you could find someone willing to make such a risky loan, the interest rate was pretty high. So, well-intended politicians decided it wasn't fair that those without the means to pay tuition were denied college educations. So their solution was to require taxpayers to underwrite college loans, sometimes at interest rates much lower than those available to the most credit-worthy. With tuition money easy to obtain through low-cost government-backed loans, demand for a college education soared. It increased, obviously. With the increased demand came higher tuition costs. This easy money is the primary reason that college tuition costs have far outpaced inflation and have gone up twice as fast as medical costs since 1985. Unfortunately, one consequence of loaning money to those deemed poor risks is that a high percentage of those borrowers are unable to repay the debt. It shouldn't come as any surprise that 10.7% of all student loans are currently 90 days or more in default. Conversely, the composite default rate on mortgages, credit cards, and auto loans is under 1% as of October of 2018. Today, taxpayers are on the hook for over 92% of the $1.5 trillion in outstanding student loans made to over 44 million borrowers. That's according to a June 13, 2018 Forbes article by Zach Friedman on student loan debt statistics in 2018. Only home mortgages exceed the total amount of student loan debt. And the appetite for loans continues to rise. The average student from the class of 2016 graduated with over $37,000 of college debt. It isn't uncommon for medical students to amass over $200,000 of student debt. This year, we will add another $120 billion in college debt to the books. The more college debt that graduates take into the workplace, the less they have to spend for vehicles, rent, and consumer goods. The damage to the credit rating of the 10.7% who are in default will also hinder their purchasing power for years to come. If taxpayers ever decide to quit footing the bill, my hunch is that many colleges' tuition rates are going to plummet, probably fall as hard as we saw housing prices fall in Florida, Arizona, and California in 2009. Lower tuition costs, though, would create a financial hardship for most colleges and the some 4 million people employed in higher education. But it certainly would significantly lower college tuitions. So Students could probably afford to work their way through college or save for them at a much greater rate than they can today. Well, politically, I don't expect all this to happen. Colleges are big business with a lot of money and influence in Congress. Further, a college education is becoming viewed as a right that should be free. In the meantime, savvy students will do whatever they can to minimize their college tuition and graduate debt-free. We'll talk about some of these ideas next week. Thanks for joining me.